And we're live.
Since I'm dressed like a Joker, can I push a twin? You guys got any twins that I can push and just throw them to the curb or something, make them get injured? I don't know.
I think you look a little more like Markieff in this situation, but that's just me.
Wow. Okay. Talk about choosing sides. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with
Skip
and the King. You guys know where to find us right now. Go click subscribe, go click like, leave some comments, because today we have the one and only Papa Minnow, and yeah, believe it or not, that is actually his real name.
I knew you were going to go with that.
He is the host of Pop's Culture, which is a great podcast. I've watched it a bunch of times, covering the city of Toronto and covering the different dynamics that we have. And Papa, thank you for coming on. And where can anybody find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys reaching out and getting me on this pod. It should be a really good one. You guys can find me on Instagram at pops.culture or on Twitter at Papa Minnow. I also have my own blog as well too. So if you want to check that out, it's popsculture.ca. So I am repping Canada to the fullest with that .ca domain. But yeah, you guys can find me out on any of those three spots. And yeah.
I love what you're doing out there. So yeah, I watched the light skin one, and you should have had me on that one. That would have been really funny with the Hinge and the Tinder and all that. That was hilarious. Yeah. You guys go check that out. So let's get down to this, guys. So, Papa, you love to speak about the city of Toronto and how different things affect the people, the population of the city of Toronto. So a big part of that is the Toronto Raptors. And I've heard you talk about the Toronto Raptors. So during this past week, the Raptors are 1-2 with their record. Okay, they have the losing record after having a winning record last week, which was actually great, absolutely phenomenal. So now I have to ask you, why do they have Why do they have a losing record? Was it because of the chemistry? Was it because of returning players that were injured? Nick Nurse throwing different players in the rotation, or everybody getting acclimated? Do you think this is a stepping point for them to get better? Or do you think this might hurt the team in a bit?
I think this is actually a stepping point. To me, I think the reason that they ended up going 1-2 this week speaks more to the chemistry than anything. This is a young team. They average, I think their age average is at 25.6, and the league average is at 26.2. So they're not one of the oldest teams, but they're also not one of the youngest, but they do skew on the younger side. And with a lot of these new faces and not having, the same core that we've had for the past few years, that chemistry was definitely a little bit off at times, especially when you look at the offensive end. There is a little bit of a struggle there. For me personally, I do enjoy the fact that their defense is really good. I think that's one building stone that, the culture of Toronto has been known for quite a while. And that really helps them progress forward. Whenever we happen to see them make that next step forward, that base of having a really good defense is definitely going to be a huge positive going for them, especially with this young core who finds it difficult to score. But if we look at the games, they had a really good win in Washington. I like that bounce back game, having that revenge win, being able to handle business in that sense was really good to see from them. And then even the Cleveland game, they were dominating that whole way through. They ran the show from beginning to end. Just at that last few moments in that last quarter there, they happened to make some defensive lapses that kind of killed them and didn't really help them going forward too much. Garland got really hot. And, typical fashion when in that third quarter, when you see Jarrett Allen make that bank shot three, I knew from the moment it left his hands that was going in.
That was a fluke!
that is that is typical Toronto Raptors basketball right there. Like Marcus Smart going off on us, Jared Allen hitting that three, like pretty much the same thing happening in that situation there. So just them being young and inexperienced, you can tell that they couldn't really handle that pressure in that fourth quarter. Usually we'd have like a Kyle Lowry to kind of hold the ship steady. Yeah, hold the tide, keep them in check, hit a big shot or, take a big charge. But we don't really have that yet. VanVleet's still working on it as he's learning the point. And then in that Brooklyn game, you saw them they had a really good first half, but that second half, they couldn't really contain Harden anymore. He started to get going. And then they left guys open from three who you should not be leaving open at all. Joe Harris, who's shooting an unbelievable 41.9% from three. And then Patty Mills. Insane. Like he's shooting better than most players shoot from the floor with a 47.4% from three. So that's insane. So just those things in combination, them being young and not knowing, I think that's really why they're 1-2.
Skip. Now, I got to ask you, based on the 3 games that Papa Minnow just said, can you break down some of the things that you've seen in each of those 3 games? Especially with Scottie Barnes versus Evan Mobley, right?
That was fun.
That was a good one.
That was fun.
Right? So can you give us something? Kevin Durant saying that he loves coming to Toronto?
Yeah, well, I think this week is not a week to panic. They went 1-2. I mean, that's not ideal, obviously, but I think this is kind of just who the Raptors are, right? They're a competitive team. They're a decent team, but they're not a world beater. They're not a championship contender. You go up against Washington. You get your revenge against Washington, and that's great. That was well deserved. Kept the flow going. Then you go up against Cleveland, and Cleveland's a pretty good team this year. Like they're not the Cleveland Cavs of like a year ago, 2 years ago. They're a solid team. And
super teams.
And the Raptors dominated that game, like you said, or maybe not dominated, but they controlled that game. They had the edge all night long. And then what we saw at the end of the fourth was just the offense fell apart, because that's the problem with this team. This is an offensively challenged team. This is a team that beats you on possessions. It doesn't beat you on shooting. It doesn't beat you on really at the end of the clock making their shots. So in that game, I don't think they made a shot for the last minute and a half, whatever it was. That whenever OG hit that three, I think it was about a minute and a half left on the clock. They didn't score again the rest of the game. And that, as much as the defense, that's what really killed them in that game. And it was kind of, you could see it slipping away all night, all that fourth quarter. It was like, these guys, they're just not taking care of business right in the way they need to do to put this game away. They're not at that level as a team where they can just stave off a tough, hardy team that's fighting back. But that's still a really good performance. Like, they played really well in that game. It just sucks. Like, OG's feet aren't in the way of Darius Garland on that drive. Like, he probably misses that shot, and then we win that game by 1. So I'm not going to stress about a game that we lost by 1 point and at the last minute of the fourth quarter. I mean, you're showing that you competed in that game. And then the Nets game, I mean, the Nets are the Nets. Even without Kyrie, they're a really good team. I think we saw the Raptors, their pressing defense did force some turnovers, did force some runouts. And we saw there were stretches of that game where KD was turning it over. Scottie Barnes had 5 freaking steals, and most of them were just ripping the ball right out of KD's hands. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
sheesh.
At the end of the day, you're playing this crazy gambling defense against 2 of the best, most intelligent ball handlers in the entire league. And KD and James Harden, they might turn the ball over a couple times, but they're not going to let you beat them in crunch time just by swarming them. They're going to find the open 3-point shooter. They're going to roast you alive. And that's what they did. They dominated that game. Obviously, it was a revenge game for KD. He took it serious. He wanted to come in and he wanted to beat Toronto. He wanted to show us a lesson after what happened in the finals. So
yeah, he got injured.
I'm disappointed,
classy Toronto Raptors.
Well,
fan.
I know. I mean, I'll be honest. I cheered for a split second too. We were all so keyed into that game.
We were watching that game,
but we were also keyed in, and it was like life or death. And it's like, I'm sorry, KD, but we don't want you in this game right now. It's not personally. I'm sorry you got hurt, but I don't know. I mean, it was a dark moment. But anyway, moving on. I thought this week was really interesting. We saw Scottie go up against Evan Mobley. That was a really interesting matchup. I think one thing I noticed with that is Evan's a very understated player. I think these two are probably the number one and number two candidates for Rookie of the Year early on. And I thought both of them really showed out in this game. But what you see with Scottie is he was really dominating the ball at times, not throughout the whole game, but when he was in his element.
Two different styles of play.
Yeah.
Right?
Mobley's much more like he fades in the background, but then he's there when you're putting up a shot. He's there getting in the way defensively. He's there hitting a spot up three. He's there hitting a layup in the lane, or an alley-oop in the lane or whatever. So I think they're very different styles of play. I can really see why the Raptors coveted Mobley, more just because of the positional aspect of it. I think they really wanted a center, a true center, and that's what he's going to be, or that's what he is, you could say. And they are going to be a little undersized, but
I think Love on the way out.
The way that Scottie's playing, man, like you can't regret that pick at all. Like I'm not even sure I would, if you went back, I'm not even sure I'd take Mobley right now. But obviously that's my bias talking. But anyway, I thought that was a really fun matchup, and it was a fun week. And the Raptors, let's be real, the Raptors have a really tough schedule coming up this month, all of November. They're on the road against some really good teams. Fortunately, I think the Celtics and the Sixers might be battling some COVID issues and stuff. But I think we shouldn't get too stressed out about this week, but we should lower our expectations maybe a little bit for the rest of the month of November and really say
there's no need to get stressed out this week.
Yeah, so I think we should just be happy.
There is none.
If we can get to the end of, I would say, November at 500, I think that's a reasonable goal right now. And then go from there and try and build from there and try to grow into the team that we can be.
Okay, so based on what you guys just said, now I gotta say, everybody wants to talk about the starters. I want to talk about the bench, like I've been doing for God knows how long. Now, the bench, offensively, no, I got to eat my words. I got to eat some crow on that one. But defensively, over the last 3 games, like you guys can see right there, they're a +6 on steals, only having 8. They're a +2 on blocks, only having 4, right? But the Raptors, even with the bench and even with the starting lineup, they're not getting their due from the refs. Like, to be quite honest, I got to say, guys, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say this, the Raps should have been 2-1 because that Cleveland game, to me, that was utterly total bull. Okay? Because with that phantom call at the end and the other phantom call and the other phantom calls going against the Raptors, they could have done it against Cleveland. You guys can look at the tape, go on your PVR, go check it out, okay? I do not need to break it down for you because if you watch the game, you would understand what I'm saying. The Raptors could have taken it with their bench. For example, bench against their last 3 opponents, they're a -14 for 14. Right? And now let's get into overall.
Wait, -14 for 14 on field goals or free throws?
Free throws.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the Raptors with their free throws in general, okay, the discrepancy between them and their opponents is they are a -21, which is what the opponents made, versus out of 22, which the opponents took, which could have completely changed the tide. The Raptors could have been 3-0, possibly.
Okay.
2-1. Wait. Hold on.
Go.
So now I want to ask you guys, based on the bench, what they've been doing, what about the big starting core 4? Papa, you up.
I think the big starting 4 core. I liked what Pascal did for the limited minutes that he was in. That seemed to be pretty good. Scottie, like you guys had said earlier, he's been an absolute blessing to this team. it's weird because, on draft night, everyone was expecting them to take Suggs to that position. And then Scottie Barnes' name came out and everyone was shocked. Everyone was like, why are we doing this? And
now they're eating their words
on Twitter. Exactly. So I think that's been really good as well, too. For me, VanVleet's been up and down. It's been a roller coaster. I think there's still a huge adjustment for him in terms of being able to run this offense. Kyle Lowry was a leader for the past few years, and he was just kind of like, not the sidekick, but, that side position to him. So him having to run this team now, I feel like that's also been a big challenge for him in terms of being able to lead these guys. So I don't know. I feel like the starters have done a pretty decent job. Like I said, going that 1 and 2 wasn't necessarily the biggest detriment. OG as well too. He's made like some huge strides in his game. From time to time though, you see him being a little bit trying to do too much, especially in that Brooklyn game. He was really, really trying to force the issue there, trying to make things happen when he necessarily shouldn't have. But I think that's just like growing pains as well too. So there's still a lot for him to learn. But I do like what the offense has been, what the Big Four has done so far. I think they're just going to only improve from here. So that's what I just see on my end.
Yes, because the bench has been outscored in the last 3 games. And it was mainly the starters that helped it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Brian, before we go on, I got to say, I want to talk about your ref beef because you're sitting here, you're complaining about the refs going after the Raptors.
Yeah. I've been saying this for like 2-something years.
Okay,
plus.
So tell me
They do not want to give any credibility to anybody outside of the United States. That's all they want to talk about is Jokic, push this, LeBron this. I don't Russell Westbrook. I don't care.
So tell me
this. But they do not give any credit to the Raptors. So I'm going to talk about
Answer me this. Do you think the Raptors foul more than other teams?
No.
Okay, so how, without fouling, how do you force twice as many turnovers as the other team every single game you play? How do you win the steals battle every single game without ever fouling? Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying this team. This team gets up on you. This team plays dirty as hell. This team's all over you every time you touch the ball. You're telling me they don't foul guys? Like the Raptors are a dirty team. And I'm a Raptors fan. I'm not complaining about it. I'm saying we can't sit here and bitch about the refs if we're gonna go and hack people and try and strip them every single time they touch the ball. Because they're gonna call some fouls on those.
Yo, my man. When I played, I fouled dude. And they would call the foul, and I would say, this is in league game, and I would say, wait, hold up. It's up to the ref to call it, not up to me.
Exactly. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
Wait, hold
Don't get me wrong.
If the refs take a bias towards another team as opposed to your Toronto Raptors, because you guys know I'm not a fan, if they take a bias towards that, now I got a problem.
All right,
now I got a problem.
Let's look at the Brooklyn game. Let's look at the Brooklyn game. Okay. Let's look at the Brooklyn game.
It's like having LeBron in the mix.
The Raptors had 11 steals in that game, and Brooklyn had 3 steals in that game. And the Raptors had 1 more foul call than Brooklyn. It's not like the refs are going after us. We are getting up in people's faces. Anyway, I'm just gonna say,
but they're not getting the calls when they get to the rim. Okay.
One thing I do like as well too. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to
go
cut
ahead,
you off
Papa.
there.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one thing I do like about that is that I do think that this new rule of how the refs are reffing the game is beneficial to the Raptors because, like Skip had said, the Raptors are a dirty team. They are playing grimy. They do get up on guys. And now you're not seeing the refs making those ticky-tack calls, those hardened calls anymore where he's trying to flop and throw something up and get a call out of that. And I think that really helps guys, especially Gary Trent Jr. You've seen him really get defensive and grimy on dudes. And that's how this team has to play as well, too. They're really scrappy. I think this is probably one of the scrappiest Raptors teams, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen them be this physical. So with them being able to do that, with them being able to, get up on guys and refs not making those ticky-tack calls, I really do think that that's benefited the Raptors' defense as well, too. So.
You know what? To be quite honest, that's also benefited their offense. Because if you look at points in the paint, The Raptors are at plus 80 for the whole season.
And transition. Like, transition's their game. They need to win in transition because they can't score offensively.
Yes. Okay, so, Papa, since you're the host of the Pops Culture on all kinds of social media platforms, and you're a host, myself as a host, I'm going to hand you the reins. Do you have any questions for us?
I do. So my first question, this is directed towards you, Skip.
Yeah.
Scottie Barnes, Rookie of the Year, yes or no? Why or why not?
I think he's definitely a candidate. I think it's way too early to call the race for any one particular person. I think he's definitely going to be up there in the conversation. He's if you had to give it the award right now, I might say yes, but I'm not totally convinced.
Who's going to give it to?
I think, Mobley, I guess, is the other best candidate. I think, yeah, you're right. I think he's probably been the best so far, but it's early days yet, and there's time for guys even like Cade. Cade's off to an awful start, but he could bounce back. We got into that last year, so I'm not going to go deep dive that. But anyway, I think if you're a betting man and you can get, let's say, if you can get anything better than 50-50, I would take that bet. If that makes sense. Like, I would say if you got...
I'm not a betting man.
Yeah, all right. I don't want to say he's going to win it outright, but I say he's probably got as good a shot as anybody right now.
He will. You've heard it here first, and you've heard it here in more episodes.
Yeah. He definitely might. He definitely might. It's like 10 games into the season, guys. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's what I was asking it. Like, just putting it out there. I think the odds are pretty favorable for him, though. Like, they are better than 50-50 odds. So
yeah,
I might have to make that bet, to be honest. So yeah, for the King, it's not a Drake question. I'm sorry. I was really trying to think of some Drake stuff, but I just couldn't. This is more basketball oriented, but
hold on. It's the third quarter, right? Let me cry in my shower. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Yeah, I can't even bother with none of that. Okay, so what do you got for me, man?
So here's the scenario. Game on the line.
Yep.
Final possession. We're coming out of a timeout. You can't choose Kobe. Who are you going to on the Toronto Raptors?
Oh, that's a deep question. I have to ask you a question based on what you said, just to clarify.
Sure.
Is it who do they entrust to take the shot, or who will hit the shot?
Ooh. Who do they entrust to take the shot?
Pascal Siakam or Freddie VanVleet.
Yeah. You think they'll still go to Pascal?
Yeah,
Pascal
I think
first.
so. I think so.
Pascal first. He's getting paid the big bucks. And in basketball, it's a rule. Whoever's getting paid the most money, that's the guy that takes the shot. Now, who is going to make the shot? Because your question is double-sided. In the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's a flip side to that coin. Okay? So, who will actually make that shot? I'm going to go with Scottie Barnes. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, as long as it's not a spot up. I think if it's anything in the lane, he's got a shot.
And if Nick Nurse goes to draw up a play, if it's not Scottie Barnes, it's definitely going to be OG. Right? But they're
saw that in the Brooklyn game.
Pardon me?
We saw that in the Brooklyn game. Or sorry, the Cleveland game, sorry.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but the Cleveland
But then
game
who do they go to down the stretch? Who do they go to after that, right?
Yeah, they're going to look at Pascal, but who is going to hit the shot?
Yeah.
That's going to be Scottie, because that kid, shout out to my man, Robert Mishovich, right? Like, yo, that guy's got some tough skin. That kid has some great energy. That kid is the future of the Toronto Raptors. In the words of Kevin Durant, Skip, what did he say? He's what? 19, 20?
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
Jeez, this guy is already built for the NBA.
He looks massive, man. I swear to God, he didn't look this big in training camp. I think he
Even
looks
Dude,
normal.
the strength on him, insane.
Yeah.
Like he ripped that ball straight up.
I'm really seeing it. Like I now really see why Robert said he looks more like Giannis than Ben Simmons, because he just looks like he's going to be a monster if he fills out.
Yeah. So that's my question. That's my answer to you, Papa. Now, Papa, do you have anything else popping off, my man? You like my play on words there?
I just got that. Honestly, as soon as you just said that, I just took it in. No, I mean, I think, yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how this season really develops. I didn't really expect this team to be what they are now. I don't think anyone really did. And it'll be it's going to be really interesting to see how we start to fit in Pascal, because I think that's going to be a really difficult challenge in order to have that starting five.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, somehow they're going to have to make it work. So hopefully they can. And yeah, I think the future looks bright just based off of how they've been playing and with the way the guys have really stepped up and everything that's been going on. I think this season's going to be fun. It's going to be an enjoyable one to watch. I didn't really have those high hopes for it, but now that we've seen some stuff, I am way more excited about this season than I was as soon as it started. So
yeah, this team's going to compete. I mean, they might not win a ton of games, but they're going to compete and they're going to be there in a lot of games. And I think from what we've seen, they should be in the fringes of the playoff race at the very least.
Yeah, I see that as well. Originally, I picked them coming out in the 8th seed, but I did say that they will make the 4th, 5th seed due to the Eastern Conference, the way they're so stacked, so tight. And I love seeing what's coming up from even if they do make the 8th seed and they get knocked out in the first round. Listen, I don't care. As a non-Raptors fan and as a what's his name? Yeah, the ambassador. As a non,
he's getting sued, eh? He's getting sued.
Drizzy.
Yeah, my mom actually told me that last night. Which
getting
was funny.
sued by the
like,
guys at by the people at Astroworld.
Yeah, my mom was like, "You would like this? Check this out." I was like, "Oh shit!"
It's not a like thing; it's a tragedy. But like, let's settle down a little bit.
It sucks that people got. Rest in peace to all the people that passed away. Like, that's just wrong. And the people that got hurt, injured, and couldn't take care of themselves due to the lack of resources, and people just wanted to make money instead of spending money to make the money. It's unfortunate, and whoever is responsible for it, I hope they get punished accordingly. But that's another story. Yeah. But yeah, we can get into that all day, guys. But Pop's Culture, man, when you guys putting out a new one, man? You guys put the last one up, the light skin one, which I love. And you should have had me on the day after my mom's birthday, the week after my birthday. It was like, come on, man. Like, you could have had me on for that one. I would have went off on you. Skip and I would love to come on your show one day. Maybe we could do a whole hour Raptors podcast if you're available for that. We would enjoy that.
Yeah, most definitely. You guys can definitely come on this podcast that I got going on. We'll definitely do a light skin round 2 something. I don't know. We'll have to make that. We'll have to make that work somehow. My co-host would love it. He loves talking about himself and like being.
Let me talk to Gabe about Hinge.
yeah, 100%, man. He loves being the ambassador for the light skin demographic. So yeah, having you guys on would be an absolute blast. We could definitely do some Raptor stuff too, for sure.
It was great having you on Pop's Culture. What platforms can they find you on? Can you remind us?
Yeah, once again, you guys can find me on Instagram at pops.culture or on Twitter at Papa Minnow. I also have my own blog at popsculture.ca. You can check out some of my stuff out there as well, too.
Yeah, but audio.
Audio.
And all
that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Amazon Music, pretty much wherever you can find a podcast, you can find Pop's Culture on there. Just search up the term and you'll get it up below.
Yeah.
So check me out.
All you girls that follow him on Hinge, go down low.
Oh, man.
You guys know where to find Simon at Dougie J's. Baseball season is over, so he's a little lonely. All he's going to do is talk about basketball. Give him a hug. Give him something. Go find him. SimonBroder.com, on Amazon.ca. Go buy the book, Running the Point. Great read. You guys can find me, King Hussein, on all social media platforms. If you don't like it, say whatever you want about me. You guys can find us on YouTube / To The Point Podcast, which is where you're watching us. And if you're not, you're bootlegging and you owe us some money. Twitter, To The Point Raps, To The Point on Facebook and Instagram. So, Papa, pleasure having you on. We will definitely have you back on again. Skip, you know I love seeing your beautiful face. So on behalf of Papa, Simon, and myself, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.